All right, now it's time to one of my favorite parts in creating, and that is doing some cool light effects. So we have a flashlight that the boy holds here. I'm gonna make the boy a bit small. I think he's too big for this. He has a flashlight here, and obviously, when you have a flashlight, it will go a little bit lighting up. So what I'm going to do is inside this void layer, above all the other layers, I'm gonna create a new layer. Now let's go down here and let's select the polygonal lasso tool. And I want to create the area that's gonna create the light. So obviously, let's start here. The light will go something like, let's not do too much, something like this, 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 right? So we have this selection. This is how the light will go. Now, if I press D on my keyboard for default, it's gonna make the default colors background white. And if I press Command Control Backspace, I can create this. Now, obviously, this doesn't look right. So we have to make this really soft. Now, the first thing to do is to go to Filter, Blur, and let's select Gaussian Blur. So we can blur this out. And let's blur this out really a lot. Something like, let's see, let's try it out. Let's see, maybe, I think this is pretty good already. Something in the range of this. Click OK, and that's it. Now, if I press Ctrl T, and if I'm gonna press Ctrl T and then hold down Command or Control make, we can stretch it out a bit, and then hold down Shift to make it a bit smaller, maybe a bit like that. So we have like this light beam that's coming from this lamp. Just try out something like this. Now, obviously, it is a bit too light, so we need to drop it. So I'm gonna drop the opacity here. I don't want to have it that much color, that much light. Sorry. And I'm gonna press Ctrl T again and take these corners while holding down Ctrl to make the center like really small and the outer parts a bit more to the right and left. And you can see here we can play around to make this look more real. So press Ctrl T, resize it a bit, try to make it a bit more real. Let's make this a bit less. Don't want to have this too much, it's just a little bit of light. Now, let's make a bit more light at the beginning. So I'm gonna create a new layer. And again, I'm gonna select the normal brush here, general brush. Let's see, let's make the brush smaller. It's way too big now. And bring the opacity and flow to 100 again. And let's click there. We have light there. Obviously, it's too big, so press Ctrl T, resize this, make sure it fits the image like that. So this is his light. Let's bring the opacity a bit down. Change the blend mode to screen. That's better for this kind of lighting. Maybe even less, just a little bit extra light. All right, we have our lighting. Of course, the lighting is like going up, so it would be interesting if he is actually looking at something. So let's make some sort of fireflies. So I'm gonna make like these little things here. So I'm gonna select create a new layer. I create a new layer. Let's call them light stuff. And I'm gonna make the brush really small. And let's increase the hardness a bit. So we make like this hard edge and make the brush really small and make these things here. I'm not sure what this are. Maybe those are fireflies, maybe something magical. But he is watching something that's flying around here. Let's make sure it's a bit smaller, because when it's too big, it just looks like weird dots. So I'm gonna make small stuff here. Let's also bring some here because you will probably see a bit more of this inside this light beam. Now, if I'm gonna take the brush, I can remove some that are too big. Don't make them too big or else it just looks weird. This one is also probably too big. Just a little bit of these things here to make this whole composite more interesting. Let's do a bit more there. Oh, like that. something like there. All right.